In 2024, makeup prices were higher than ever. We saw so many people going off on Patrick Ta for the $42 eyeshadows, and I think people have just had enough. Everything is just so expensive all the time. But despite the high prices, you can still get some really insanely good makeup for under $10. And it's hard to believe, but the things that I have sitting here in front of me honestly blew me away this year, and I didn't include anything that I thought was mediocre. All of these things were really, really good. So today I'm going to be applying a full face of some of these products and talking about all of the rest in between. So if that sounds good, let's go ahead and jump in and get started. All right, so first let's start with complexion. I have the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. This has actually become one of my favorite foundations, and I use it more often than I would say just about anything else that I have, and it's $8, which is just insane to me. The only foundation in my collection that beats this price-wise is the Believe Beauty foundation, and I really love that too, but I heard rumors that Believe Beauty is actually going away. They're being discontinued. When I was at Dollar General recently, one of the employees told me that e.l.f. was going to be taking its spot. So I don't know. It's not 100% confirmed, but that's what they said. So I am really sad about that because I love the Believe Beauty foundation, but this is only a couple of dollars more. And honestly, I've been using this so much ever since I got it. It reminds me a lot of the Huda Beauty Blur foundation that she came out with, actually around the same time as this. It has that perfect medium coverage that I'm looking for. It's not too heavy and mask-like, but it's also not too sheer. It covers what I needed to cover. And the satin finish is perfect because it's not too glowy where I feel like it highlights all my pores and fine lines, but it's also not too matte, and I have dry skin, so it's just perfect. It's like what I call a Goldilocks foundation. It's just right in the middle. I have it in the shade 20 Light Cool, which to me isn't really that cool toned, but I think once I put it on, it blends in pretty well. So no complaints there. I think e.l.f. still has to work on their shade ranges a little bit. I find that especially when it comes to the cool tones, they don't always get it right. I'm usually looking for something that has a little bit more pink in it than yellow. But like I said, this isn't bad. I can totally make it work, but I'm not exaggerating when I say that I like this as much or more than some of my really high-end foundations. And I'm not one of those people who stands e.l.f. and I'm like, e.l.f. is the best. I definitely have had some issues with some of their products. I don't think they're always fantastic, but this is definitely one of their best products. So, all right, let's move on to the product that inspired this video, which was actually the Shop My Stash item for today. If you're just tuning in, I made my own advent calendar this year with products that are from my collection already, just so that I could get some more use out of things that I wasn't really reaching for. And I asked my son to just kind of pick 24 random things. And today for day 20, he picked out the Catrice Magic Shaper Cream Palette. So this is also $8, and you have 2 bronzers, 2 highlighters, 2 blushes. It's really similar to the Makeup Forever one, which I also have. And if I compare these two, I really don't see any difference when it's going on my skin. These creams are so smooth and silky. They're just as pigmented as the Makeup Forever. I feel like they're just as long lasting. It's amazing. I think Catrice is so underrated as a brand. And I also love that they give you a warm blush and a cool blush, so you can kind of go either way depending on what you're looking for. And they also have a warmer golden highlight and a cooler highlight. And then you get 2 shades of bronzer, so depending on your skin tone, you can kind of make it work. So I'm going to pick up my trusty 107 brush from BK Beauty. This is pretty much what I apply all my face products with. And I'm just going to dip into the light bronzer first. And I'm just going to start applying that right to my cheeks where the sun would naturally hit. This color is actually perfect for really fair skin. It doesn't show up super intensely and it doesn't look muddy either. It's just the perfect color. It's not too warm or orangey. I'd say it's a pretty neutral shade overall. Probably my one and only complaint about this palette is that the pan sizes are a little bit small, so you kind of have to be careful not to pick up one of the neighboring colors, but this brush that I'm using is also kind of big. I could probably go with a smaller one. Like I have the Sigma soft sculpt brush. Maybe I'll just use this one. It might be easier. So yeah, I can really get into the pan with this. And I love this brush too. This one is so soft. I'm just gonna drag this across my forehead a little. And then I just like to put a little bit down on my jawline, not really trying to contour, but I just wanna tie the bronzer together. Since I put it on my upper face, I think I have to put something down here just to balance things out. And I'll just blend a little bit down my neck, just whatever's on the brush. All right, so for blush, I think I'm gonna use the Cool Tone Pink today because I have this dark gray cool toned sweatshirt on. And by the way, if you're looking for like the coziest sweatshirt ever, I got this yesterday at American Eagle. And it reminds me of like, you know, those Barefoot Dreams cardigans where they're kind of like fluffy and fleecy and they have a little bit of like stretchiness to them too. That's what this is made out of and it is so comfortable. It's a slightly cropped fit, so I did order it in a large just to give myself a little bit more room. I'm usually a medium in tops, so if you don't want it to be super cropped, I would just size up one. It does still hit at my hips, so it's not going to be super short, but I'll link the exact one down below just in case you're interested. Actually, it might be from Aerie. I don't know if it's from American Eagle. I know they're the same company, but either way, I'll link it below. All right, so there's the blush, and then I'm just gonna pop a little tiny bit of the highlighter on my cheek. And this highlighter is beautiful too. It's very subtle. And I really enjoy cream highlighters because they just look, I think, the most natural. They're not quite as sparkly as some of the powder ones. So, all right, that's the palette. So next, I just want to talk about a couple other cheek products that were 10 and under that I thought just were amazing this year. So first up, we have the NYX Buttermelt blushes. Oh my gosh, these are incredible. I actually did a whole dedicated video just trying on all of the shades. So if you're interested in that, I have that. I'll have it linked. They're so pretty. I'm partial to these purple ones. I use these a lot. It's all the Butter, which is the deeper one, and then my Butter half. But this formula is so incredible. It's so smooth. They're as finely milled and smooth as any high-end blush you would ever use. They do have a little bit of a coconutty scent, which I think may turn some people off if you don't like fragrance products. Personally, I only smell it when I'm putting it on and then it goes away, but I know some people just have more sensitive skin and you want to avoid fragrance. So if that's the case, then I would probably not use these, but I do have some others that I think you'll really like. And I also want to mention the Buttermelt bronzer too, because again, same formula as the blushes, really beautiful colors. They're a little bit on the rosy side, which I like because I think rosier bronzers look more natural on me. It almost gives that little bit of a sunburned effect, but I was a little disappointed when I first got these because in the photos, like the promo photos, they looked even rosier than they ended up being, but I still love the colors and I still think they work really well. They're not too orangey. Oh, I think they're really like the perfect neutral bronzers. So these are incredible as well. And honestly, nothing beats this formula. But again, those are also scented like coconut. So just wanted to mention that. And also those were $10. I don't know if I mentioned the price. Another blush that I think is really close to the NYX Buttermelt formula are these new Essence Blush Crush blushes. These are only $3.99, I think, and they're not scented. So if you have sensitive skin, I would go with these. But they, again, when I first tried these, I could not believe how silky they were, especially for this price. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like I have Gucci blushes that are incredibly expensive, and I actually prefer the way these blend on my skin over those. These were hands down one of the best blushes of the year, and I believe these are replacing the blush that Essence used to have, and I did like that formula, but I like this one even more. I think it's even smoother, and the pigmentation on them is great. It's not over the top that you feel like you're gonna get clown cheeks, but they're pigmented enough where they show up and you don't have to keep going back into the pan. So they're just the perfect amount, I think. Really amazing. Also, I had to mention the Blush Affair duos from Catrice. I believe these are $6 or $7. One of the best blush duos ever. And again, I said this in another video, but Patrick Ta, who I know everybody loves the Patrick Ta duos, where you get the cream blush and the powder. These are the same thing, but for a fraction of the price. Honestly, this is another situation where I think I like these even better, and maybe it's just because I paid so little for them and I wasn't really expecting much, and then I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Whereas the Patrick Ta, you spend over $30. I can't remember how much those are, but you know, you try it and it's like, okay, it's a blush, but it's not any different than this one as far as performance, at least for me. So these come in 4 different shades. You have a nice mix of warm tone, cool toned options. So I love it. And I think the cream formula in here is the same as it was in the palette that I used before. So it's this really beautiful, smooth cream. I'll just put this one on a little bit. This is Pleasing Pink. And I love to put the cream on first, and then you just take the powder and kind of blend it on top. I'm just putting a tiny little bit. Just be careful because these powders are a little bit more pigmented. But once you layer the powder with the cream, it just locks everything in and it stays all day. So these were another incredible launch of 2024. Another really fun product that launched this year that I loved, and I use these so much in the summertime, are these ColourPop Lip and Cheek Balms. So these are $10, so they're right at the top of the price range, but I love how these are more of a 2-in-1 product. You can use them on your lips, and you can't always do that with cream blushes. These come in so many beautiful colors. And I think the formula is perfect. Even though they're called a balm, they aren't like super sticky. So when you put them on your cheeks, they're just ever so slightly dewy, but that also is what keeps them from not feeling really dry on your lips either. And they're so pigmented. I actually loved using these on just my lips and cheeks. I took a couple of these on vacation with me just so that I could do really quick, easy looks with it. And I love how it's almost like a stain on your lips. These last a really long time. So I love these as well. Another blush, I know we have a lot of face products here, but Hard Candy came out with these Face Off matte blurring blushes, and these are $7.97, I believe. These are so similar to the ones from Huda Beauty that came out earlier this year. I love this purple shade, by the way. This is Girl Crush, but even the red one, I mean, it looks crazy red in the tube, but when you put it on, it's more like a hot pink, and when you blend it, it's really not like as scary as it looks. It's a gorgeous color. I think I have swatches of these somewhere, so I'll insert that so you can see what they look like, but they're such a great formula, and they really do have that nice blurring effect. They kind of make your pores look a little bit smoother on your cheeks, so I actually use these a lot this year as well. Also coming in at $7, we had the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Bronzer and Contour. I used these in a video, and I really like them a lot. I have 2 shades, Fair and Fair Light, and Fair is a little bit more of that grayish undertone that's perfect for contour, and Fair Light is really perfect for bronzing. It has a little bit more warmth to it, but it's also not again, like it's not orangey. I loved the way it looked when I applied it to my skin. These are a little more on the pigmented side like the blushes are, so just be careful. A little bit goes a really long way, but I find that they blended out nicely. They weren't patchy. They didn't lift my foundation underneath. I think these were a really solid option, and you don't have to pay more to get a liquid bronzer or contour. I think these do the job perfectly. They're really nice. All right, moving on to eyeshadow, I wanted to talk about this palette from Lamora. I got this on Amazon. It's $9.99, or at least it was when I bought it. I know at one point when I talked about this in the video, I think a lot of people were buying it and then they raised the price randomly, but I just checked right before the video and it's back down to $9.99. So if you're thinking about getting it, don't wait, because if there's like a rush of sales again after this video goes live, they may decide to raise the price again. I noticed that Amazon sellers do that a lot. But anyway, this is a super close dupe for the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. And when I swatched this, I was blown away. I bought this on on your recommendation. One of you guys had told me about it, and I went over to Amazon, ordered it, and I wasn't really expecting too much, but oh my gosh, when I got this home and I saw how pigmented these shadows are, and they perform beautifully. So I'm going to use a couple of shades from the palette today. I'm going to use Toasty as my crease color. It's a beautiful cool toned grayish taupe, and I'm just applying this with the BK Beauty 202 brush, and I'm working it into my crease. I think what I love about these shadows is how, first of all, they're pigmented, but they're also really smooth. They just kind of glide across your skin. Sometimes I have trouble with Natasha Denona where, you know, the shadows are so pigmented that they just tend to catch and skip a little bit. And these just go on like silk. They really glide easily. I know Lamora also has some other palettes. They have one that looks like the Glam palette from Natasha Denona. They have a few others. I'm just going to grab the shade Cocoa, which is a little bit deeper, and I'm going to focus most of that on the outer corner, but then bring it a little bit across my lid too. All right, and I'm not going to use the shimmer shades today because I have some other eyeshadows that I want to talk about, but I just want to mention how beautiful these are. I think they really nailed the wet look formula from Natasha Denona. They have those beautiful sparkly topper finishes, and then they also have some regular shimmer shades in here as well. So if you didn't splurge on the I Need a Nude palette and you want something similar, this is honestly amazing. It's super, super close. Next, I have to mention the Moira Chroma Light eyeshadows. These I know I've talked about in so many videos, but they're really incredible. They're a dupe for the Urban Decay Moondust shadows. And what's even more awesome about these is that they come in so many more colors than the Moondust. So you really have every color of the rainbow to pick from. There are duochromes, there's regular shades. They're just gorgeous, and they have so much sparkle to them. They're just as pigmented as the Moondust shadows. I actually did a YouTube short earlier in the year. I think it was over the summer. And I compared the Moondust shadow in Solstice to Moira's Summer Dream, and they look identical. Like, you really cannot tell the difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply Summer Dream to my lids. This is my favorite shade, the one that I think I used the most. It's a beautiful duochrome. It has like a reddish brown base, but it has a blue shift and blue sparkles in it, and it's just stunning. These give your eyes that wet effect that's really popular right now, and I brought these on my vacations just to use as one and done. They don't take up a lot of space in your luggage, and they were perfect for that. So I just love the shine that these give. If you don't want little glitter flecks on your face, I would use a glitter primer with them. I wouldn't say they have a ton of fallout. They're not complete glitter bombs, but I do every once in a while notice like a stray glitter here or there on my face if I don't use glitter primer. But otherwise, I think these are so good, and they're only $6. Plus I have a code with Moira for 15% off. So they're even less than that. And also, similarly, from e.l.f., we had their Finest Fleck eyeshadows that just launched really recently. These are also $6, and they're pretty much the same thing. I think the Moira ones are a little more pigmented. These are more sheer. So they're going to give you not as much color, but just that wash of glitter. If you want any eyeshadow to kind of take on that wet look, you can use these as toppers. Whereas I think the Moira ones you can use as a straight up eyeshadow like the Urban Decay Moondust, and you're gonna get that color in there as well. So the e.l.f. are much better just as a topper over something else, but they're so pretty. They come in several colors and they're easy to get. You know, Moira you have to order online. The e.l.f. ones you're probably gonna be seeing in stores pretty soon if they're not there already. So if you like glitter, they're just a cute little fun product to use as well. Next up from e.l.f. we also had the Lash Extender Mascara. This is $7 and it's a tubing formula. It's one of my favorites. I've been wearing this a lot this year, and it is supposed to be a dupe for the Thrive liquid lash extensions. And you know, the brush is exactly the same. They made the tube, or at least the cap, this green color similar to the Thrive. I personally don't think it's an exact dupe, but it comes pretty close. I think the difference is in the formula, obviously, because the brush is really the same. I also don't think I get quite as much length and volume from this formula, but it comes pretty close. And it's one of those situations where it's so much less expensive than the Thrive, but the results aren't so much less. It's just a little bit. So I feel like it's good enough to warrant not having to spend $26 on the original. Plus you can't get the Thrive one in store either, so I feel like this one's just a lot easier to get. But I mean, if you look, it's got lots of length, lots of volume, not a lot of clumps either. I love the brush because it really combs out your lashes well. So I love this. I think it's an awesome mascara and it washes away with just water. So that's the best thing about tubing formulas. It doesn't get all over underneath your eyes or cause any smudges. I'm so glad that they came out with this one. And I do like it better than the Milani dupe for the Thrive. This one isn't as heavy or as clumpy as that one, and it's also a lot cheaper too. All right, so moving on to lips, we had some of the Tarte Maracuja Juicy dupes. We had one from Catrice and one from ColourPop. So the ColourPop one are their So Juicy Plumping Lip Balms. These were $10. So again, right at the top of the price range, but they are really great. These are perfect dupes for the Tarte. I think they're probably the closest that I could find. They have that really super melty texture. They can get a little bit goopy if you apply too much, but that's kind of how the Tarte ones are as well. But they just give your lips a ton of shine, and they do have that slight tingle. They're not over the top. They're not uncomfortable. They're a little bit minty. They have like a vanilla mint scent. And I just find these to be really pretty. They come in so many beautiful colors. If you don't like the overly melty texture, I like the Catrice Melt and Shine lip balms for that. These are more balmy and creamy than the ColourPop ones, which are more glossy. These don't have as much shine, but they give your lips just a little hint of dewiness. They're actually similar to the new Milani ones that I just reviewed that came out really recently, but these are $15.99 and the Catrice are only $6. So they're less than half the price. Granted, the Catrice ones only come in 4 shades. The Milani come in a lot more, but these are super pretty, really hydrating, and these don't have a plumping sensation like the ColourPop ones do. So I like both of these. I think it just depends on your preference and what you're looking for. If you want that really super glossy look with the plumping effect, I think these are great, but also the Catrice ones are really good too. Another lip product that absolutely blew me away this year are these Essence Slim Stick matte lipsticks. And you might be thinking, Jen, you hate matte lipsticks. Why would you even say that? These are so good. They're like one of the best matte lipstick formulas I've ever tried. The only other matte lipstick that I think is as comfortable as these are the Westman Atelier lipsticks, and those are super expensive. These are only $4.99. I know I tried these on in a video and they just made my lip lines almost look less apparent, and that's usually the opposite of what matte lipsticks do. They usually make them look worse. So I was super impressed by these, and not only are they comfortable to wear, but I found that they stained my lips and they lasted a ridiculously long time, way more than I was expecting. Even when I put them on around like noontime, I noticed I could still see color when I went to bed, and that was after eating multiple meals and drinking throughout the day. On the packaging, it says that they're a 6-hour lipstick, and I would definitely say the majority of the color does last about that long, but then you get even more wear out of it just because of like the staining effect. You have a little bit of color still left. So these are incredible. I don't hear a lot of people talking about them, but I just had such a great experience. I also wanted to mention the e.l.f. Sun Boss lip glosses. These are $7. I got these back over the summer, and if you watched my worst makeup video of 2024, you know that I had tried an SPF lip balm that was horrible. It had a disgusting chemical taste. These don't have that. They have mineral sunscreen in them, so you're not going to get that funky taste or smell. And they're actually nicely pigmented as well. I feel like they're smooth, they're not overly sticky, and they give you broad spectrum SPF 25. And SPF is so important. I think a lot of us use it on our face, but we don't think about using it on our lips. So these are great if you're going to be out somewhere, if you're on vacation, or you're just out in the sun a lot. And the colors that they come in are really pretty as well. And I find them to be very hydrating and nourishing overall. So these were definitely another great find this year. The next product is one I just talked about very recently in a video, and it's the ColourPop Fresh Kiss Glossy Lip Balm. So these are basically dupes for the Summer Fridays lip balms, and I think they nailed it. These are so fun. They have really delicious scents, and each one smells exactly like the name. They're also very glossy. They are a little bit more on the thin side, so they're not a big, thick, sticky gloss, but they also still give your lips hydration. Even the rubbery silicone applicator that they have is extremely similar to the Summer Fridays ones. So they really did a great job at kind of giving us a more affordable version of those. And honestly, it was hard for me to pick which one I liked the best because I thought all the scents were really good and all the colors were super pretty as well. So these were great. Again, they are $10, so they're at the very top of the price range, but I do have a coupon code for ColourPop. It's Jen Phelps, but it's $5 off a $25 purchase. So if you're only going to buy one thing, it's not going to work. But I did want to mention that in case you're buying multiple things and you want to save a little bit of money. So there were those. And then also Moira came out with their own version. These are called the Butter Bliss lip balms, and these are a little bit less expensive than the ColourPop. These are $8.50 plus, again, I have that 15% off code with Moira, and there's no minimum purchase with that, so you can just buy one thing and still get the 15% off. But these are beautiful too. They are scented, but I didn't find the scents to be quite as strong as the ColourPop ones, and maybe for some of you that might be a good thing. I don't feel like I really notice the scent with these as much as I do these, but they do all have slightly different scents. Like this Pout Perfection one smells like vanilla, and then this one, Forget Me Not, which I think I'm gonna wear today, it's this gorgeous burgundy purple shade, and this one has kind of more of like a fruity scent. So they're all a little bit different, but again, they're very subtle. And you can see how pigmented these are as well. They have a lot of color to them, at least the deeper shades do. And they're so buttery. They have more of like a cushiony texture. They're not sticky. They really feel like a liquid lip balm. They're so nourishing. So these are fantastic. And just as an honorable mention too, I wanted to talk about the ColourPop Lippy Pencils because I just discovered these in 2024, even though I believe they've been out for longer than that. And it started with me using this shade Oh Snap in a video. And I remember putting this on and I just was obsessed with the color. I actually used it just to fill in my lips and create a lipstick with it, and they're so creamy that you can really do that easily. And then I just topped it with a lip balm, and I loved this color, and I thought the formula was so good that I ended up going to Target and I bought a bunch more colors because I love the balance that these have of being creamy, but they're not too creamy, so they last a long time, especially when you apply them as lipstick. And I love doing that and then just popping a balm on top. So I just wanted to give these an honorable mention. I know they didn't launch in 2024, but they're $7, and I have been using these more than my Makeup Forever Artist pencils, which were my #1 pick and the thing that I was using the most when it came to lip liners. But ever since I discovered these, I find that I'm using these a lot more. So anyway, guys, this was so much fun. There are a few things in the makeup world that get me more excited than affordable makeup that performs like high end, and these were definitely some of the best that I tried this year. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What products $10 and under did you try this year that absolutely blew you away? I'm thinking I probably might have missed a few, so if I did, be sure to let us all know and help us all to save some money. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and if you have some extra time and you missed some of my Vlogmas videos, I'll put the playlist right up here and you can check those out next. Thank you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye.